Hi, my name is Lior Brunman, and I'm a solution architect at Axway. I'd like to demonstrate to you the Axway Amplify management plane and how it can help you manage and govern APIs across ecosystems. The agenda for this demo is as follows. We'll do a brief overview of the Amplify platform, and then we'll dive into a live demo, which will actually be a series of 4 short demos. We'll have a chance to ask questions at the end. I'd like to start with a quick story that will set the stage for the problem we are addressing. We have a customer who is a financial holding company with retail and commercial banking, auto and life insurance, auto loan divisions, and subsidiaries, each with their own IT with Axway and non-Axway gateways. New divisions are added almost yearly through mergers and acquisitions. So they have a bunch of gateways spread out across their organization. And they're experiencing API sprawl. This means it is hard for internal and external developers to discover and test APIs in order to create innovative applications. For example, one such application is a mobile app to shop for cars and automatically get insurance and financing, and then find repair shops, all in just a few clicks. Those developers need access to multiple different APIs from across the different divisions. Furthermore, it's also hard for the global IT to understand how APIs across the holding company are performing and hence budget for growth. This is API sprawl. Let's see how Amplify can help address this API sprawl problem. This is a diagram illustrating the Amplify platform. The platform has a SaaS management plane shown at the top, which is providing a governance layer over various different data planes. The data planes at the bottom are where the messages and APIs get processed. At Axway, we have our own data plane shown at the bottom left with our API management solution, Streams, which is our event hub, API Builder, which is for creating APIs and integrations, and Integration Builder, which is an iPaaS, Integration Platform as a Service, for doing cloud-to-cloud-based integrations. In addition to that, we also have the capability to manage third-party data planes shown at the bottom right. We know from our customer base that many have different API management solutions, so we have the capability to have all these connectors to the platform to, one, provide a single UI for your API consumers where they can view and find APIs within your enterprise, and two, for your API providers to have management and information of exactly what is available within their ecosystem and what is happening within those APIs so they can make decisions on what the next step is for their API program. I'm going to demo 4 use case scenarios that will illustrate how Amplify can reduce API sprawl. These demos will barely scratch the surface of the value that you can derive from the platform, but it's a good first step. These use cases will cover 2 for each persona, the API consumer and the API provider, and will cover the following scenarios. An API consumer discovers APIs in the unified catalog. 2, the API provider aggregates APIs from disparate gateways into the unified catalog using the Amplify platform agents. 3, an API consumer subscribes to APIs using your custom API subscription approval process. And then finally 4, an API provider views API analytics to understand how APIs are performing. Let's get started. In this first demo, I'll show you the unified catalog and how it makes the life of a developer/API consumer easier by making it easy to find APIs that are actually spread across multiple different gateways in your organization. Okay, let's dive in. So in this demo, I'm going to have 2 personas. When you see Chrome in incognito mode here, like you're seeing with this black border, then I'm the API consumer. And when I have the white Chrome border, then I'm the API provider. So hopefully that visual cue will help. So here I am, the API consumer, and I'm going to take a look at the unified catalog. So let's start off with the way things are for me today, the API sprawl problem. So I've got multiple Axway API gateways. So here's one. So I'm looking at an API portal for one of my gateways, and it has 2 APIs, comprehend and stock quote. And of course I need the URL and the login credentials for this portal. And here's another Axway API portal, and I need the credentials and the URL for that. and it has two APIs, Translate and Weather. And then our company also has an AWS API gateway, and I need the URL and the credentials to log into that. So that's API sprawl. In order for me to discover APIs, I need to know they exist, then I need to have access to them, and it gets quite cumbersome. But with Axway's Amplify platform, I can eliminate that API sprawl problem by logging into the platform. And again, I'm the API consumer, and I have a login account to the platform that was provided to me by my company. And here I logged in at platform.axway.com, and I'm brought immediately into the unified catalog. And those APIs, which were in AWS, Pet Store and Zoo Store, and in one of my Axway API gateways, Weather and Translate, and the other one, Stock Quote and Comprehend, are all presented to me in a single unified catalog. Now, what's nice about this is it's not just APIs. The unified catalog can also display other assets like our managed file transfer product and other products, but we're really here today focusing on APIs. And while most of these are REST APIs, I also have a GraphQL API. And you see here we can present synchronous APIs, GraphQL APIs. I've got one of those. I've got 6 OpenAPI 2.0 REST APIs, one OpenAPI 3.0, and we can also support SOAP web services. So lots of different types of APIs can be presented in the unified catalog. And also I can look at different categories. So I can look at healthcare APIs. So again, these APIs were curated for me by the API provider, and they're providing means of searching and discovering by category, for example, here. And I have no finance APIs, but that's okay. We'll take a look at that later. I can also come up here and search for APIs. So if I need some language processing, some natural language processing APIs, maybe I search for those, and I see I've got a Comprehend API, and I've also got a Translate API. So many different ways to search for APIs, sort APIs, filter APIs, and in essence, discover APIs that I might want to use. So maybe I come in here to the SpaceX API, and I want to play around with it and see how it works. We have support for the GraphQL Explorer. So I'm going to find a query here, and I'm going to paste it in. And I'm going to test out this API, and here are the results. And I can also maybe add some other information here into my query, and I can get more information from the API. And notice that I've imported this API into the unified catalog manually, but when I call that API, it's not a proxy of an API. I'm calling the API directly. So we're not proxying your APIs. We're basically housing them in a unified catalog, making it easier for the API consumer to discover and test the APIs. Let's end this demo by going to another API, the Pet Store API, which is in AWS. And I'll come over here to methods because I want to try this one out, but I see probably that I can't because it requires me to authorize. And I need an API key, and in a subsequent demo, we will see how to subscribe to the API and get a key. But that concludes this first demo. And in this demo, what we saw was how APIs from different gateways can be viewed in one place, the Amplify Unified Catalog, and this greatly helps reduce API sprawl. Now, for our second demo, let's see how the Amplify platform and its discovery and traceability agents help the API provider aggregate and curate the APIs into the unified catalog. So we have agents, as I mentioned, discovery agents and traceability agents for Axway's API Gateway, Azure, AWS API Gateway, and Istio, as well as community agents for the others. And these are basically binaries that run either as a service or as a Docker container on or near the API gateway and pull API discovery information and traceability information and publish it to the Axway Amplify platform, namely into central environments and the unified catalog. So what I want to show you here is a little bit of the experience for the API provider for creating the agents. So I'm in terminal. I'm in a terminal right now, and I'm going to use the Axway Amplify CLI, the command line interface, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how we create an agent. So I'm going to log into the platform first. This will bring up a browser, and I'm going to log in as an API provider. And I'm going to sign in into the right organization. And I am in. And if I come back into terminal, you'll see that I am logged into the Axway platform, into an organization in the US. We have environments in different locales. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the CLI to install the agents. So we have a command for that. It's called Axway Central Install Agents. Now I'm not going to do the full installation, but the idea is you use the CLI and you answer questions related to your environment and service accounts and various information required for the agents to run. And then you'll have a set of files on your machine. And then when you're done, you'll upload those to the gateway, and then the agents will be running. So you can see I've got 4 different gateways. These are the ones supported by Axway. Remember, there are also community agents up on GitHub. But let's do the Amplify API gateway. And do I want to use the API manager? Yes. So I really just start, answering questions, and it's really that easy. And at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit out of here. I think you get an idea. But when I'm done, I'm going to have a set of files here that I could upload to my Axway API gateway and run them as a service or a container. All right, so let's now go into the browser and let's take a look at these agents. So again, I'm going to go to platform.axway.com, and I'm already logged in into this environment, and I'm going to go, so what I see here when I log into the platform is various getting started guides, as well as access to the various different platform services that I'm subscribed to. And I'm going to go into Central, and again, the home page in Central is again some getting started guides for things you would want to do in Central, like manage your APIs and services, or register an API, or watch your traffic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here under topology, and we're going to see these environments. Now, typically for best practice, you might want to have a specific environment for every different gateway. So earlier for the API consumer, we saw 2 Axway API Manager, API Gateway environments, V7A and V7B, and 1 for AWS. So you can see I've got separate environments for each. And if I go into one of these environments, you can see that for AWS, the agents are not running. They're in a stop state. But for V7, they're in a connected state. So those are running. So what I want to do is I want to go into AWS, and I can see for AWS I've got 3 APIs, Farm Store, Pet Store, and Zoo Store, but I need to start my Docker container. You can see, so my EC2 container, which has my agents running as Docker containers. So I'm going to click on that EC2 instance, and I am going to start it. And it will take a few moments, and then I will see that we are connected. But before I do that, again, I want to show you for V7, I've got stock quote and comprehend. That's for V7A. For V7B, I've got weather and translate. And again, to remind you, in the unified catalog, I've got all of these APIs, weather, translate, stock quote, and comprehend. Let's come back here and let's go back into the AWS environment, and I can see, I still don't see them having started. Let's see what the state here is. They are running, so probably any second now I will see them in the running state. What I will mention is I have the Pet Store and the Zoo Store APIs. But if you notice, when I went into the AWS API Gateway, I actually had pet store, zoo store, but also farm store. And the reason that is we have fine-grained control over how and when APIs are discovered, whether they're pushed into the environment and the catalog or just the environment. And I'm using a feature known as tags. So if I look at the pet store API and I look at the production stage, you'll see that I've got tags called should discover. So I'm using a should discover tag, the presence or absence of that, to control whether an API is discovered. Let's go back into the environment and see if this is running yet. And I can see now that the agents are running, and I still have these two APIs. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tag the farm store API, and then we're going to see how it gets discovered. So I'll come here, notice there's no tags, and I'm going to create a should discover tag and save that change. And now I can come back over here, and within a second or two, you will see that the farm store API is discovered. Not yet. I see now a third service has been added, and I come down here, and I see the farm store API. So you just saw how the discovery agent, I was able to control discovery with a tag, and it actually discovered an API. So now let's go into the unified catalog, and we should see that farm store API just a second ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the farm store API, and what I'd like to do is I would like to add it to a category. This is one of the ways I can curate APIs for the API consumer. So I'm going to add it to the finance API, click save, and later we'll see how the API consumer now is able to see that API in the finance category. Click on catalog. The last thing I want to end with is show you all the information that's available here to the API provider. First, you have all the APIs. Again, you can filter and sort, by these different filters here. I can see what teams each API belongs to. This has to do with the visibility of the API to various different team members and consumers. I can see how many subscriptions are in each API, and I can see how many times the API is reviewed, as well as some vanity metrics here on usage, and when they were published to the unified catalog and by whom. So in this demo, we saw how the Amplify platform and its discovery agents help the API provider aggregate and curate APIs into the unified catalog. Let's switch roles again and look at how an API consumer can easily subscribe to and test an API regardless of which gateway the API is hosted in. In this third demo, it might get a little confusing because the API consumer will subscribe to an API, and then I'll have to switch roles to the API provider to approve it, and then back to the API consumer to test it. So please bear with me. Hopefully I can make it clear for you. Okay, so let's take a look here at the catalog, and I can see here the new Farm Store API. I can scroll down here, click on Finance. I see that that has been put into the Finance category. We didn't have that option before. There were no Finance APIs. This is not really a Finance API, but I think you could imagine if it was. And now I'm back to all the APIs, and let's go back to where we were before, and let's take a look at the Pet Store API. And remember, when we wanted to try this API before, we needed to authorize, and we didn't have an API key. So what we can do is we can subscribe to the API. Let's say I'm building that mobile app, so I'll give my subscription a name, and I'll select a usage plan for that API, and then I will request access. So now what happened was the API consumer requested access to the Pet Store API. Now, as an API provider, if I happen to be in the platform, I can come over here to subscriptions, and I can see that the API consumer subscribed to this API, and then I can approve or reject it, which is fine, and we provide that capability out of the box. The problem is most of our customers really want to tie API subscription approval processes into their own business processes. So what I've done is I've built an application which will receive a webhook from the platform and send a message to Teams. So let me bring Teams here. And I can see here it's 3:37. So at 3:37, a user, leorbrenman@gmail.com, actually created a subscription called Mobile, and I can click on that and it will bring me into the platform and to this subscription right here. And I know which API they're subscribing to, the Pet Store API. And I could see that a Jira incident was automatically created, and it's telling me what to do to approve or reject the subscription request. And that's the process that my customer wants to follow for API subscription approvals. So I'm going to click on the incident, which is going to bring me into Jira, and I can see all the information that we just talked about. So here is the ticket name or the incident name, and here's a description including a link to the subscription request. And I've added some custom fields to this Jira incident, so I can approve the subscription approval request right here. I can also add a comment. Good luck on your mobile app. And then all I need to do is close this or set this to a close state. And at this point, my application will detect that the incident was updated, and it will go make an API call to the platform to approve that subscription request. So what I need to do now is I'm going to switch back to the API consumer. So now I'm the API consumer, and if I go under subscriptions, I can see that it's still approving. If I go back to the API, Pet Store API, because I am going to be here in a moment to test it out, I can see it's still in the subscribing state. It takes a moment or two for the platform to put the subscription request into the active state. But as soon as that happens, the platform will also send an email to that user, and there it is. And again, the time 3:39, it is 3:39. If I come back here and refresh the page, I should see the subscription in the active state. There it is, it's active, and I got the email. So if I open up the email, I can see my API key. I will copy that. Oh, I don't need value. Let me get everything but that. And I come here, go to methods, and I will authorize myself. Close that. Then I can come in here and test any of the APIs. So let me click try it out, and I execute that, and you can see there's the API call because I have the key. All right, so that was for the Pet Store API, which again is in the AWS API Gateway, right? So that's the Pet Store. But let's say I want to subscribe to a different API. I want to subscribe to, sorry for switching around so much. I want to try an API from my one of my Axway API gateways. So I'll click on Weather, and that was in one of my Axway API gateways, and I click on Method, and again it has an authorize, so it needs also an API key. So I'm going to subscribe to that. So let's say in this case I'm building a web app. And I have to select one of the apps in the gateway and request access. And what I'm intending to show you here is even though there are two different gateways, I can apply the same subscription approval process to both. So here you can see the web app subscription request for the weather API was again made by the API consumer leor.bremen@gmail.com. So I'm providing a consistent and uniform way for API consumers to subscribe to APIs, which really gives the API consumer a better experience. So in this demo, we saw how an API consumer can easily subscribe to and test an API regardless of which gateway the API is hosted in. We noticed that the UI and process is similar and consistent, again, leading to less API sprawl or reducing or eliminating API sprawl. For the fourth and final demo, I'd like to show you how the platform provides the API provider with useful metrics to determine fine-grained usage and debug information, as well as gain high-level overview analytics to help with API planning. So most of what we've seen so far is related to discovery agents, meaning discovering APIs in the gateway and pushing those APIs into central and unified catalog. In this demo, we're going to focus on analytics and traceability, which is provided by the traceability agents. So I'm going to go first, I'm in central, I'm going to go to the API observer. And what we're going to see here are some traffic information about the APIs, regardless of the gateway they're in. So you can see here I've got traffic from AWS, from V7B, V7A, that's my Axway API gateway, all shown in a holistic fashion here. And there's various different filters. So for example, if I only want to look at certain APIs, like the pet store API, I can filter that. If I want to look at maybe only gets or posts, I have that ability, and I can of course combine these filters. Maybe I only want to look at the AWS API calls. So really nice filtering to help you, kind of figure out what's going on, which gateways are being used, which APIs are popular, etc., from an API traffic standpoint. The other thing that's worth noting here is some of the API information has been redacted. So by default, we redact all the information, and we give you the ability to decide how much or how little information is being stored here for your API traffic. So for example, on this translate API, I don't even know which resource is called, and I really don't have any header information. Or on the other hand, if I look at the pet store API, I know that, well, first I know that it was the prod.pets was the resource that was called, and I have full header information here for those calls. Oh no, that was an option. So here I can see the header information from the client to the gateway, and then from the gateway to the back end. So lots of useful information here. You could be using this to debug calls on a per call basis. We also have API usage information across the different APIs. I can see 31 total transactions in this time period. I can go to various different time periods, including custom time periods, and I can see successes and client errors, etc. So lots of useful information here on a per API basis, as well as per app basis. So all of that is available in the API observer, but I also have the ability to go into the dashboard. And in the dashboard, I'm going to get very high-level information about my API program. The total number of transactions and how that's trending, discovered assets, unified catalog assets, how many subscriptions were made in the last 30 days and the trend, how many connected environments, how many teams, and how many users. So lots of useful information on the aggregate. I can also gain some really great insights here in the visibility tab. So I can see most performant APIs, least performant APIs, most requested APIs, least requested APIs, and so on and so forth. So you have lots of great information to kind of help you gain insight into your API programs. And finally, API traffic. So, in this final demo, we saw how the platform provides the API provider with useful metrics to determine fine-grained usage and debug information, as well as gain high-level overview analytics to help with API planning. So to recap, we got a brief intro into the Axway Amplify platform, in particular the management plane. We saw 4 demos covering the API consumer being able to view APIs from different gateways in one unified catalog, and also to subscribe to APIs in a consistent and uniform fashion. We also saw a custom API subscription flow using Jira and Microsoft Teams. We saw how the API provider can leverage the Amplify agents for discovering and tracing APIs from different gateways into various environments, and for aggregating and curating APIs for the consumer in the unified catalog. Finally, we saw how to analyze API usage in detail for debugging, as well as at the aggregate level for capacity and planning purposes. All of this helps reduce API sprawl and accelerates innovation. Finally, the next steps for you is you can go to platform.axway.com, and we have a 30-day trial on the platform, so you can sign up for that and give it a try. If you go to our online documentation at docs.axway.com, you can find information about the CLI. You can install it from NPM, and then you can create agents, customize them, and install them on your gateway. And you can start to solve the API sprawl problem in your company. And then finally, you can go to university.axway.com, where we have complimentary training on the Amplify platform. Thank you.